I can't believe the zombie apocalypse is finally here. My house is getting completely swarmed by the undead, and I don't know how to fortify my house properly. Is there anything I can do? If only I'd watched more of those videos on American Eye.
Did someone say my name?
Hey, I've seen you on YouTube. Zombies are attacking my house, and I don't know what to do. Help me out.
Don't worry, Board Badger. I got a few tips for you. Here are the best ways to zombie-proof your house.
Number 11. Barricade your door. We are fully aware that it may seem difficult to remain calm when the zombie outbreak is finally here. Make sure you secure your stronghold and barricade any possible weak points or openings. The undead will be showing up to your door and they won't be asking you for candy, only brains. You need a way to keep them from barging into your front door in case any of your other fortifications don't work out. Consider using 2x4s and some nails as a primitive way to keep them from coming in, but this method is still risky because wood can still be broken. You can even consider putting 2 doors on there with one of them being made of metal, or reinforce the lock on your door by getting a door jamb lock. This reinforces parts of your door and the company claims it's basically fail-proof. For about 70 to 100 bucks, it's a good way to start. The hinges and the areas around the lock are normally the weak point, and that product will reinforce the steel. The hinges and areas around the lock are basically the weak point, and that product will reinforce it with steel. Many criminals will also just try to kick down your door to take your zombie apocalypse stash, but don't let them do that. Number 10. Break-proof windows. When complete chaos has swept over all of civilization as we know it, shattered glass will litter the floors, especially from people's windows who weren't ready for the zombie apocalypse. Zombies will have no problem busting through those, and thieves will find a way to get in if they're not made from the proper material. You can choose to barricade your windows with 2x4s as well, but windows are crucial for being able to see what kind of evil creatures are lurking outside your window. Zombies don't really care if they only have a few cut marks on their arms from breaking open windows, so this is something you need to consider. Try getting some windows that were made to be burglar resistant, such as security laminates. This glass is extremely resistant, especially against blunt weapons, but it won't completely break due to the material it's made of. It can withstand several shots from high-powered weapons as well, but you have to spend a little bit extra for those ones. Be sure to check out some of their YouTube videos to see for yourself. Number 9. Get a guard dog. Dogs are going to stick out as one of the best pets to have during the zombie apocalypse right away. Reimagine that your cat certainly isn't going to help you fight off zombies by any means, and they are essentially useless. Dogs have super hearing capabilities, a keen nose, and enhancing these senses will certainly help you survive. Dogs are quite trainable, and one might be able to immobilize a zombie, giving you a chance to finish it off. German Shepherds have been used by police officers and the military as a key component in their arsenal, so you should too. Releasing the hounds from your compound might prove to be an effective method of vanquishing all the undead intruders. Hopefully the virus doesn't spread to animals, or you may have to deal with zombie dogs, which is never good.
The zombies are just everywhere. I don't even know where they're coming from. We have to act now.
The perimeter of your house wasn't properly barricaded. Please tell me you sealed off the air conditioning vents, right?
Number 8. Removing zombie hiding spot. In case you didn't think zombies could be sneaky, think again. Unfortunately, you can't just call the pest exterminator to help you out with this infestation. They could very well be hiding somewhere in your backyard, just waiting for you to come outside for them to wreak complete havoc. This is why you need to keep the shrubbery at a minimum, so zombies won't hide behind them. If you live on a farmhouse, this can prove to be a very serious issue, especially if you're growing tall crops such as corn. Plants should remain below the waist so you can tell when hordes of the undead are making their way to your home. Each home is different, so it might take some time to figure out all the places at your house where zombies could potentially be waiting for you to make the wrong move. Barns, sheds, stables, underneath your porch, your air conditioning vents, under your bed, and even behind trees are all plausible locations where they could be hiding. So watch out. Number 7. Dragon's Teeth Fortifications. On the flip note, you'll also need some ways to keep vehicles away from your zombie apocalypse compound, because people can just be as dangerous. They very well might think of a way to simply drive through your house and take what you got. This is why you need Dragon's Teeth Fortifications. It makes the terrain surrounding key locations of your compound less maneuverable besides your main entrance. Dragon's Teeth are basically little pyramids made out of reinforced concrete, which were used during World War II extensively throughout Europe to halt enemy tanks. The Allies solved their problem rather quickly to get past them, but we're assuming your average apocalypse radar won't have access to dump trucks to bury them. In any case, it will slow down the enemy and hopefully prevent them from driving through your home. Number 6. Security cameras. Imagining that you have some type of electric source, some type of security camera would prove to be extremely useful for various scenarios. You're going to have one obvious entrance to your home. The only way to know when the coast is clear to go outside would be to use some security cameras. If you have set up the Dragon's Teeth in your front lawn, that should help, but more of the vulnerable areas need security cameras. Infrared cameras will prove to be extremely expensive, but during the darkness of the night, the bodies of the raiders will light up. You'll be able to uncover their plot to bring your house down. It's still unclear whether or not zombies will show up on infrared, but might be a good idea, just in case. Number 5. Electric fences. It's widely believed that stun guns and other electrically charged weapons can prove to be extremely effective versus zombies. And if this is the case, an electrically charged fence around your zombie compound would be the ultimate barrier. You don't think any chain link fence is going to keep you safe from zombies, so it seems like it would be necessary to give it a little bit of an electrical boost if you can. There's a little bit of a debate though how exactly electricity will immobilize zombies, but touching a high voltage fence can cause a fairly gruesome wound at the point of entrance, potentially amputating a limb. It wouldn't be as effective to zombies as it would be against people, but it should give you an advantage. High-powered electric fences can also be solar-powered, as long as the sun hasn't been completely blocked out by ash. This could prove to be a useful way to fortify your zombie-proof house. Number 4. Spike strips. Similar to the Dragon's Teeth, spike strips can prove to be useful against automobiles that seem like they're coming to your house. But it won't immobilize them immediately. The steel spikes will puncture the tires of suspicious vehicles around your house, which will at least make the vehicle of the enemy have a difficult time taking off with your belongings. These are often used by the highway patrol, and you have a better chance of coming across some of these than the cement needed to build Dragon's Teeth. It will likely puncture their feet. Although it wouldn't be fatal towards them, we imagine there's a good chance it could slow them down.
Number 3. Trenches and pits. If you haven't started digging just yet, don't worry, you still have time for now. But in most apocalyptic scenarios, getting underground always seems to be a good way to avoid danger. Since the era of World War I, trenches proved to be one of the only safe places to hide out at, and it can prove to be useful in many different ways during the zombie apocalypse. Consider digging a personal trench that's easy to conceal in your front lawn. You might have various long-range silenced weapons you might want to use, and this might be one of the best places to use them. If you decide not to use the trench for sniping, you can consider turning it into a zombie trap, known as the punji pit. The punji pit is a hole that's basically covered up with something like a blanket with leaves on top for camouflage, and with spikes at the bottom of that hole. Your goal here is for multiple zombies to fall in that pit and get impaled with the spike. Number 2. Palisade Fortifications. If you're living in a wooded area and you don't have the means of obtaining chain link fences, barbed wires, etc., it seems like your best option would be to build a palisade fence. These are made of wooden spikes or tree trunks, and they work as a defensive structure. They were quite commonly built by the Romans, Greeks, and medieval armies as a form of cheap and convenient fortification. You would just need some simple tools such as an axe or a chainsaw to cut down the tree, which we imagine you already have. Remove any unwanted branches or tree limbs. Do your best to make the palisade anywhere from 10 to 12 feet tall. In order to make it just a little bit more resistant to zombies, go ahead and sharpen the trunk to a point just in case they decide to climb. Palisades are vulnerable to getting set on fire, so they should really only be considered a temporary option until you can build a brick fence.
Those sound dope, but is that really enough to fend off hordes of vicious zombies?
Nothing is sure during the zombie apocalypse, but the next one could be a great option.
And number 1, the roof shelter. Height is going to be a huge advantage when it comes to staying safe against zombies. One way to make sure they don't get to you would be by building some kind of shelter on the roof of the house as well, to maximize space and give you a good vantage point. We've seen many people recently style the rooftop to become more accommodating, and this might not work on every house. But if there's somewhere on your roof that's flat, you should definitely fortify it and find a reliable way to get up and down. Get plenty of mounted machine guns or grenade turrets to release your fury on the undead below.
Thanks for the assist, American Eye. Now my crib is zombie free. Time to party it up.